Lowe again. Our guest today helped to write a new page in motion picture history by appearing as one of the stars in MGM's All Talking, All Singing, All Dancing Broadway Melody of 1929. Please join us in welcoming Miss Anita Page. And now, here's your man of the half hour, Skip E Lowe.
Anita Page grew up in Flushing, New York? Born in Flushing?
No, I was born in Flushing, New York.
Where did you grow up?
But I was brought up in Queens, and then moved to Hollywood.
You moved to Hollywood directly from Manhattan?
Well, not directly from Manhattan, no. We moved from Manhattan to Queens, and then we came out here. Then my mother and I and my brother came out
Was
here.
your mother actually a stage mom?
No way.
What do you...
No, as a baby, I was asked. Someone asked her if I could be a baby star. She was going through a studio on a little tour.
What age were you at the time at baby star?
Oh, probably about 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And so he wanted to know, maybe a year. I don't know, because I was, I was there, but I didn't. I wasn't that bright at that age. So anyway, but my mother said no. She said if she wants to go on later in life, that's fine. But she said I do want her to have her schooling and a normal childhood, and then from there on in. So from the time I was 5, I wanted to be an actress.
You did?
It was born in me. Oh yes, it was born.
You knew
it.
I
knew it. I knew it. And I never. I was able to draw. I was a bit of an artist, and I took a little course there because I like to have 2 strings to the bow. You know what I mean? Just in case.
Right.
But I was going to be an actress. That never in my
Anita Page.
Never.
What was your first thing in New York City and Manhattan? Was it the first in Manhattan or New York? In Hollywood? Was you in films in New York? Or?
Well, I did. I did a
silent
film. I did the studios had all left.
Right.
And I did do a little bit. In other words, here's what happened. Betty Bronson was a friend of mine, and she got me into a little scene of A Kiss for Cinderella. And a very attractive, nice gentleman came over and started to flirt with me. So
That's a 1925 Kiss of Cinderella.
Yes. Woo! I was only 15.
Yeah.
I was only 15.
Good God. Okay.
And, Betty asked me, she invited me to tea, and she asked me, she said, what have you been doing? And I said, I was a winner in the beauty contest. And she said, I've never done that, but she said, I'm doing very well in the movies. Wouldn't you like to get in the movies?
She became your mom, didn't she?
Well, her mother really was the one that loved me. So Betty did too. I mean, we were wonderful friends. And Betty's brother was sort of one of my boyfriends at that time. And so anyway, we kept the friendship going, although they lived here, and I was living back in Queens. But then I got this opportunity to go to come to Hollywood. And of course, guess what? I couldn't wait to get on the train. My mother came with me and my little brother. And I was here.
When you arrived here in Hollywood at Union Station or Pasadena, was it Pasadena?
I think
Union Station. When you got off the train, clear sky, Anita Page. Clear sky.
Most beautiful place.
Was it?
Most beautiful place I'd ever seen.
Oranges and palm trees.
Palm trees.
And this is in 1925.
No, this
26?
was 1907. I was 17 by this time.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I had some time in New York.
Oh, you did
2 years.
I see.
See, that what I was doing is I was modeling for the John Powers Agency, but with no idea of being a model. No, all the studios were closed, and he was the only one that was doing anything like modeling or anything. So I thought, I could do these. I was very good at doing stills, where they would illustrate a story, and I could do the still. And in 3 months, I was going to Philadelphia. I was going here, there, because I had that knack of being able to, through my face, show something. Right. And so, anyway, one day he called me in. Powers did, and he said,
John Powers.
And he said. He used to call me one of his first long. What did he call me? His first long stand beautiful girl or something like that. He had a funny little thing he'd say. But anyway, I walked in, I was about to say, Mr. Powers, I don't want to be a model. And before I could open my mouth, he said, oh, you're for pictures. See how smart he was?
He knew.
He knew. And he said, I said, well, yes, that's what I mean. That's what I want to do. And I said, but I'll
Were you determined at the time when you told him that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You knew?
Oh, yes. Oh, I knew when I was 5 that I was going to be an actress.
Okay,
I mean,
go ahead.
I couldn't visualize anything else.
So he sent you to Hollywood? He told you to get on here?
He sent me to a studio that signed me the minute
Right.
they saw me, and he sent 18 other girls. I remember him saying, you know, Anita, I have to be honest, and they were with me, and I have to send them, but he said, you're going to get it, I think. So I got the part of the second lead in this picture being made
What
by...
was the film? Love Me or Leave Me, was it? Or no, that wasn't it.
No,
What
I
was that
forgot
film?
what they called it. I don't know. And I've forgotten the name of it now. But anyway, I got the part.
Right.
And then I was in it
Was
for
it
a
Telling the
week.
World in 1928?
No, that's the one I made with Bill Haynes at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. That was the first one I made there.
Was that the first one at MGM?
Mm-hmm. At
What was
MGM.
MGM at the time?
Oh, marvelous.
Was it?
Marvelous.
1928.
Oh, are you
Metro
kidding? It
Goldwyn
was
Mayer.
marvelous. It was the place to be, particularly for women stars.
Right.
You know, men too, but John Gilbert, for instance, was a
They
great...
gave you the carpet treatment, didn't they?
Oh, you bet they were marvelous to me, just marvelous to me.
Did they send you to classes and all that?
Well, you see,
dancing, singing?
I had Paramount that wanted to sign me too, you see, so that made it very nice for me to
So you
have
had 2
the-
studios.
Oh, yeah, I had 2, and then I had a smaller studio that was willing to take me for a year and train me, but they said I was too good for them, really, but they
Right.
would take me. So I knew I had, you know, things were stirring. And so, anyway, well, I'll let you
But
tell
tell me something about Dancing Daughters in 1928. That's with Joan Crawford.
That's with Joan Crawford
How did you
and
get in that film?
Dorothy
How did you
Sebastian
get-
because L.B. Mayer said so. You see, what had happened there, I had gone in, there was something that displeased me, and I went in there and almost knocked the whole studio down, and he was so impressed.
What displeased you? Huh? What displeased you? What displeased you at the
it
time?
was something that...
A young girl, 17, 19 years old. What
and I
happened?
went in, and
What that determined? What displeased you?
I'm trying
Anita
to
Page,
remember
do you
right
remember?
now. Let me see.
As a young actress, wasn't Joan Crawford?
Oh, no. No. Well, no. I mean, I didn't worry about Joan at all. No, no.
Okay.
Jonah didn't become a star in that picture, in spite of what they said. I think you've got the things that show that I was the one, the newcomer, that came in, and that all the critics were calling for me to be the star.
Anita Page.
Do you have
Right,
that?
right,
Because I
right,
do.
Right.
And so anyway, but the point of it is, no, it was about I'd say another year. They were giving me great parts. Everything was fine. When my agent decided it was time to go in and ask for more money, a terrible thing. If we'd ever known
Right.
what it was really like, you know, you didn't do that. I mean, you went in. Of course, they always said, if you click, we'll give you a new contract, and they would have. But no, he was impatient, poor man. I mean, you know, they make mistakes, and he figured that he said, you've certainly clicked now, and this is the time we'll go in. Well, I didn't. I was doing a scene when all this was
Right.
talked over, you know, with my dad and everything. So anyway, we did what he told us because he had been good up until then, you see. And
I want to show, you know what I want to show, Anita? I want to show my audience the silent movie that you did. The first silent movie.
that was Telling the World with William Haynes.
Is it William Haynes?
Yes.
I want to see this movie,
You-
the silent movie of...
You know, I haven't seen this one.
I
for
don't
a
think it's
long
William
time.
Haynes. I think it's Lon Chaney.
No, that's not the
That's
first
what we're going
one.
to show. Was not your first one?
No. The first one was Telling the World with William Haynes, and it was directed by Sam Wood.
Oh, you got a good memory then. Okay, I want to go back and show Lon Channing. Then. Can
Oh,
I show
yes.
that one?
Yes, I
Let's
did
show that one. I have the
was
clip of that.
Yes,
Okay.
I did that with
Good.
him.
I
Yeah.
wanna show that.
And
Thank
he was
you.
wonderful. Wonderful
Let's
to
show it.
work with.
Thank you. working with Lon Channing. He really wanted you in this film, didn't he?
Oh, yes.
He asked for Anita Page.
Yes, I truly believe he did. I mean, because there was never any problem at all. I just went right into it.
Did you learn anything from him at the time? Because you were very young.
Well,
what did you learn from him?
Oh, I learned a lot from him, but something I already knew. We both agreed that it was through the eyes that you know,
eyes tell it all on
the
camera.
Story on the camera. You see, you've got to be photogenic as far as your features are concerned, and he was, believe me. I mean, he was a very nice-looking man, in spite of all those other things, you know, he used to do. But the point of it is, you had to be able to get it through.
Is that what Valentino had? Valentino. Is that what he had?
Well, he died before I got out there.
I know, but that's what his secret was, with his
eyes. Oh, yes. I mean, because they, you know, they're the mirrors of the soul. I mean, they tell a story.
Right. I want to show this.
Oh, yeah,
this
please
has
do.
eyes. Look at this. Can you give me a close-up on this, please? Look at this.
My second favorite picture.
Look at that.
Well, you know.
Oh, who did this?
Harrell.
Harrell.
Yes.
Because look at those eyes. The lips. I love it, Anita.
I love that picture.
What year? 1920?
That was 19. Let me see. Now, that was after
29?
they discovered that I looked like Barbara Lamar, they thought.
Barbara Lamar.
Yes. And that's how this started. Because I was at Clarence Bull's taking some pictures. And somebody from behind, you know, like I couldn't see them, just like we can't now, called out and said, "You know who you look like?" And I said, "No." You know, I'd heard that before. I didn't know what he was going to say.
Love this.
I
look
do
at this
too.
one. I adore this. Can we get a close-up of this, please? Look at that.
I hope so. That's one of my favorites.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah, one of them.
Who did this?
My third.
Is this Harrell too?
I think it was a Harrell. It looks very much like a Harrell.
Gorgeous.
It also says there too that this picture was shown when I was at my great time, and it says great right after it, you know.
Right.
And so that was when
Tell
I was
me about Clark Gable. I want to go to Clark Gable. Come on, Anita.
Oh, wait a minute.
Come on, darling.
Well, you know, I was very fond of
You actually
Clark.
really discovered him, like.
Well, in a sense, he played. Well, no, I think Metro did, but he played my husband. You see, and that was the first picture he made.
What was that?
Let me see. The Easiest Way.
Easiest Way.
I think it was.
Right.
Yeah, the Easiest Way. See, my sister took the easy way.
Right.
And I took I loved the man I married. He was just a laundryman, but I loved him, and we had a little baby, and we were, you know, the nice people in the play, and she was kind of going on the wrong side, you understand, with a, you know, friend, very dear friend that took care of things. And so anyway, he played my husband, and he was charming. But, you know, it was a funny thing. I liked him tremendously, but I never felt any emotional pull there, you know, at all. And but I did think he was a dear man. And my mother was off the lot for a day or two, and then he was wondering where she was when she came back on. And he said, "Oh, Mrs. Mars, it's so wonderful to see you." And you know, he was like that. He made friends. People loved him as a person, don't you see?
Ramon Navarro.
Oh,
Come on,
now of course
Navarro.
Tell
me about
we're
him.
talking something. Oh well.
What do you mean we're talking something? Tell me what you're telling me.
I'll tell you what I'm telling you.
Come on, tell me.
Well, I think he's the only one outside of Bill Haynes. He wanted to marry me too, but
Bill Haynes.
Bill Haynes, yeah. At the end, yeah.
You've had all these men after Anita Page.
Well, you know, I mean,
Come
they
on,
like
Anita. You've been married how many times?
I've only.
No, you've been married. You married a wonderful man, your first husband. Come on, who wrote that great song for you?
Oh, he was a very charming man, but I wasn't in love with him, honestly.
You weren't?
No. My father loved him. My father and he were friends for. I mean, I'm just kidding when I say that.
Right.
But they were very, very. 6 years after I left, and I had my baby, I go into my father's office. There's Herb sitting there. They were just like that. They were so they just, no matter what Herb did, my father that was fine, you know, with him. And even if he was a little angry, he'd get over it because he just doted on Herb. And
looking back, come on, looking back. You've been around Hollywood a long time.
Oh yes.
God, tell me some of these.
I was there for 7 years. I mean, just at Metro. And then,
you were at Metro 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. I had 7 years. Well, first I had a contract, you know, that would be picked up, but.
So you've seen a lot of stars.
Oh, yes.
Coming out of Metro.
And I've worked with a lot of them.
Was Joan Crawford a bitch and a lot? Did they say at the time she became?
I can't say.
You can't remember? You
well,
don't remember?
No, it isn't. I don't remember. But I couldn't say that about anyone.
See, you're from the old school.
See,
you're from the old school.
We weren't close. Let's put it at that, you know. And, of course, after our Dancing Daughters, we were a lot further apart, believe me.
That's what I mean.
Yes, after that one.
Anita Page, look at this. This is beautiful. God, look at that.
Oh, because I don't
Girls
mind.
should only look like that today. They're beautiful. Just
Well,
beautiful.
we
That's a great
I
natural
really
picture.
think I agree with you on that. I think that women don't understand the great gift of mystery. I mean, they think if they show it all, that's what's going to make nothing doing. My husband met me. I fell in love with him the minute I saw him, and we were married for 54 years. And I was dressed to play golf.
This is your second husband?
No, my
Third?
yes, my
Your
second husband, but he's my only
right.
husband.
You moved
Because,
to Coronado?
see,
You moved to Coronado.
Well, let me put you straight on this. I got an annulment from the first one.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yes. I see. I never lived with him as his wife. No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No, he had asked me to just go down to Mexico and with my dad and mother because he said I was thinking I might marry him, and he said that he was jealous, and this, that, and the other thing. It would make him feel better. And so I thought I'd had a little champagne, and I wasn't used to drinking. So it also looked very, fun thing.
Right.
And so down we went, my mother and dad. And, my dad was pleased because he was very fond of Mr. Brown. I remember one time I said, I think you should have married him, Dad. But he was a dear man.
I want to show this clip. I want to
Person.
show this clip
Yes.
of your first husband, though.
Yes,
your first
sure,
husband.
go
Can I
ahead.
show the clip of, I think it's
I've
You Meant
never
For Me.
seen
We're going
it.
to show that one right now. Can we see that, Gary? Let's show it.
Queenie, I couldn't sleep at all last night, thinking of you. On the level. Life was a song, you came along. I laid awake the whole night through. If I but dared to think you cared, this is what I'd say to you. You were meant for me. I was meant for you. Nature patterned you, and when she was done, you were all the sweet things rolled up in one. You're like a plaintive melody that never lets me be. For I'm content, the angels must have sent you, and they meant you just for me. Queenie, I wrote it for you. I wrote it about you. It's you. Don't you know what I mean?
No, Hank!
Oh, Queenie,
You keep your thoughts to yourself.
That's great, darling.
So I said, no, if he wants me, I'll go.
Oh, Nita, I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
That was Charlie
King.
singing, Charlie King
Charlie
singing.
King.
And that your husband wrote this. He dedicated that
Yes,
song to you.
he wrote all the music for Broadway Melody, as far as I know. Herb Brown did.
Tell me about Broadway Melody. That was the first musical in 1929.
All singing, all dancing.
The first.
The first.
The first Academy Award, too.
And it won the Academy Award for 1929.
God.
That's Best Picture
Did you
of
go
the
to
year.
tell me
Oh,
about
are
tell
you?
me.
Did I go with an Adrian design gown?
Go ahead, girl, tell me.
Oh, my word. It was all white and foamy, and it was just gorgeous. And I went with this young man, the Crocker, Harry Crocker. Did you ever hear of him?
No.
You know, he's the
No.
they had the Crocker Banking.
Oh, okay.
And they were very good friends of Marion Davies, who was a very good friend of mine.
Right.
And so I went with him, and it was just marvelous. And at that time, they served dinner around at the awards, And I remember
This wasn't at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, was it?
I think it was.
It was?
I
Okay.
think it was. Now,
Go
I
ahead.
can't swear to that,
Yeah.
honey, but I
Okay.
think it was. And so anyway, and it was it ever exciting, you know? Oh,
Right.
my. And then, of course, when we won the award, I mean, oh, we were just thrilled to death. And a very funny thing happened. It was one of the guests there was kind of a comedian, and we were raving about the food because we used to eat at that time,
Right.
have dinner there. And so he, just to be funny, he said, "Oh, the peas are canned," you know, and we kind of looked at him. And so about 20, 30 years later, when I was in the Philippines, my husband had been ordered there. The phone
Your
rang.
husband was an admiral.
Oh, yes. Well,
Okay.
at that time, he
Yes.
wasn't. At that time, you see, I was married to him 54 years. He was an admiral for about
that's-
the last, the last 10 years or something like that. So, no, he never got passed over. He was just bumped up all the time. I mean, he always made it. Oh, no, he's brilliant. He was brilliant. And just as, the handsomest man I ever saw, I just fell for him like that. The next day, he asked me to marry him.
And that's what happened.
That's the
you
second
married this
day.
admiral there, and
I
you
sure-
moved. Where did you traveled to bases?
Oh,
How
yeah,
did you do it?
traveled to Shanghai, well, not just necessarily bases.
Did you go to the Philippines in Manila?
Oh, yes.
You were at Subic Bay.
Oh, please, yes.
Yes,
oh, yes.
I was there too.
Yeah, were you there too?
Yes, I entertained the troops there. It was
Oh, you
fun.
did?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh.
Nita, tell me about the troops, because I used to do all that kind of bases, military shows.
Oh, you
So you
did?
did all that. You were an officer's wife.
Oh, yes, of course.
Going to the officers' clubs and
Oh,
having
did
dinner
I
and-
ever? Oh, and then there was...
You like that kind of a life
Loved
from
it.
movie star to
Honey,
officers'
anywhere
wife?
he was.
Really?
I was so happy.
So you were happy?
Anywhere he was. It was just magic.
How many children do you have?
Two.
Two.
Two beautiful girls.
Girls?
Of course, I think so, but so do other
Are they in the
people.
business at all? Any of
Oh,
them?
now Sandra is the oldest one.
Right.
Is one of the greatest artists. She's a great artist, and she's at Disneyland. She's got a
she?
marvelous job there. Yet. Oh, yes, she is fantastic, and she did a picture of me that many people say is the most beautiful picture they ever saw. She did this thing. I've been wanting her to do it for 4 years, and I finally got her to do it because you see, she was working all the time. She's been been with different people, but she wanted to go to Disneyland, and she finally made it.
What's your happiest memory about Hollywood? Do you have a happiest memory about Hollywood?
I think
when you were
probably the happiest memory was after I did Our Dancing Daughters, and it came out that I had stolen the picture. It was my picture, and I defy anybody
The
to
critics
say
said
it
that.
isn't.
The critics all said that. I've been
oh,
reading
yes,
the
you've
critics.
been reading
Yes,
it, haven't
the
you?
critics
oh,
said
yes.
that,
And
yes.
they said I should be the star.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
And Joan Crawford just claims that she was the star, didn't she?
She was trying to be,
Uh-huh.
but she didn't make it on that one. No, what happened is my agent went in and made a lot of fussing.
Right.
And the studio had been doing beautifully by me. Were going to give me another great part, not as great, of course, as the one where I fell down the
Yes.
stairs, but a marvelous part, and half of it you can see in the picture. But then my agent went in and fought for more money. Like, he should have fought for better part. I mean,
see.
not better.
So you
They
have
were great.
regrets about Hollywood when you were young
Yes,
and not
I
getting
do.
good parts?
Yes, I do, because I feel that if he hadn't asked just for money,
Yes.
if he'd asked for good parts, that's where Betty Davis was smart. In other words, she didn't ask. You know, she went to court to get better parts.
Right.
And so that's what they finally had to do if they were going to do right by her.
Absolutely.
And they did, and that's where she was marvelously, guided. Or I think she herself probably
She did it all.
Oh yes, oh yes.
You seem like a spicy, strong lady.
Well, I think
What is
I
your
am.
day like, Anita Page? I mean, you get up early in the morning?
I get up. I'm getting up early all the time because, of
Uh-huh.
course, at the first of this year, last year, I was so ill. I had a slight stroke myself. When my husband left.
When you left, you
But,
miss him.
miss
you just,
him.
You feel.
I'm just filling in the time, you know, and yet I've got wonderful friends that have been so good to me,
Yes.
and I've got my two daughters, and I go out with them, you know, and they keep me going and so on, and they're after all, they're part of me and part of their father.
So you don't, looking back, you got married to the man you really
Oh,
loved.
yes.
You left
Oh,
Hollywood.
yes.
You threw everything back. You said, I'm going to marry my man.
That's right, and I'll go
You
anywhere
don't regret it?
he
You
is.
don't regret that?
No,
You have no regrets?
No,
Leaving it?
no.
That making you leave success that you could have been bigger than ever?
Well, I mean, but so what? Then I'd have probably been old and lonely, an old actress and lonely, you know. This way I have the most marvelous memories, and I have friends and dear friends, as you know. You know some of them.
Share one memory with me with Marion Davis.
Oh, I'd love to.
I'd love to tell me
I'll
about
tell
some.
you one
Tell me.
that sounds very conceited.
No,
but I'll
that's okay.
tell you, Marion had come over. I didn't know this, but Sam Wood was running around he was my first director that wanted me so badly with Bill Haynes.
Right.
And he was the one, he was running around a lot saying, you want to see the most beautiful girl in the world? Well, come over to our set. And Marion loved that. So she came over and she said, you're absolutely right. So she went into the front office and said she wanted to look just like me. Now, I heard this when I was working with Navarro in a picture, and I just sort of, I couldn't think who it was. I don't know why. I think it was because I figured she was a cosmopolitan under the banner there. Yeah. And so anyway, I haven't the faintest idea, but I heard the story. 7 or 8 years later, I heard it from her own lips. She told me, she said, Anita, she just couldn't do enough for me. She loved me so dearly, and I loved her back. And so we were up in Wintoon one day. That was another place they had. They had the Hearst Castle, of course, and then the Wintoon was up. Oh, I loved Wintoon.
So you spend many evenings up there having dinner.
Honey, I was invited for the weekend, and I stayed there 5 months. I used to say, don't ask me anywhere, but they wouldn't let me go home. They just Marion had adopted me, and that was it. So we were sitting in Wintoon, and that was up near Oregon, and it was marvelous there. The air was like Maine back in the east. It was just great. And so one day she's sitting there and she's just looking at me, all her old friends, a lot of them were there and everything. She said, Nita, you've got the most beautiful bone structure I've ever seen. She did. And her so beautiful herself. I almost fell off the chair. And I mean, she could clock. There was another very lovely star, and she said, you're prettier than she is. And I said, oh, I never even thought about it. I like the star. She was a friend of mine. And she said, she got a weak chin. And later on, they did a story on her, and they said that she did. Marion's clocked it like that. She
Anita
was
Page.
Brilliant.
A book? How about a book?
Oh, I think I'm going to do it. What do you think? I'd like to do it.
I think you should.
Don't you
Anita
think?
Page, yes.
I've had a lot of very interesting experiences.
I'm surprised you haven't started in doing it.
Well, I meant to, but things like this, dear, get in my way. So
Oh, I see. Oh.
No, I'm teasing.
You seem
know
very
that.
happy, though. You seem
Well,
very happy.
I feel this way. If the Lord can do no wrong, and if He took him, it must have been His time, and that's what I'm coming to.
Anita Page, photoplay. Look at you on photoplay right here. Let's
Wasn't
show
I
this
doing
photoplay.
cute?
Oh God, this was the magazine photoplay. Look how beautiful. How old were you there?
I
girl?
don't know
You must
who
be
did
17,
this.
18?
I was probably 18.
18.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Look at that hairdo. That hairdo is coming back.
Yeah, I think it is. And of
Anita
course, you know
Page.
that they all went for a lot of them went for the eyebrows.
New
going
talkie
up.
style. I love this, Anita. Beautiful.
They
And
went-
this one I love. This is gorgeous
Yeah, that's
too.
a very nice one.
Let's show
too.
this one.
Yeah,
Can we
that's a
see
good
this?
one.
Oh,
That's nice. I'm
this
happy
is
with
lovely.
that. Did we show the one you liked so well? Where
This one? I like this.
Well,
Why did every posed years ago they posed like that? Look at that. Look at that.
They did.
Ooh, they did, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, they really
The
did.
eyes and the lips.
And you know the reason.
Right into the camera. That's great.
Yeah, they did.
That's
They gave you. I mean, they wanted to make stars out of people. I think if they had anything at all that they could work with,
Right,
And
right.
so,
Looking at Hollywood today, Anita Page, driving down Hollywood Boulevard.
I'm on the boulevard.
You
know.
are?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you are. You
I'm
have
my
your star.
Oh, yes.
What area in Hollywood?
It's right next to Loretta Young, and Lucy Ball, I think, is nearby, and so is.
Good. Finally, they gave you a star.
Oh, yes.
I'm so upset
Oh,
they don't
yes.
get stars like Mamie Van Doren, who's a wonderful actress, singer.
Yes, yeah.
They don't give people stars today. I'm glad Anita Page got a
in.
star.
You bet I am, too.
Someone had to fight for that because those people in
Yes.
Hollywood just don't.
They don't hand. And do you know something? I didn't know I was on the boulevard.
You didn't know? How did you find out?
A friend of mine who was a writer called me. We had come back from some travels, and he said, Anita, he said, do you know you're on Hollywood Boulevard? And I said, no. He said, you've been on there for about 4 years.
And you weren't even there to attend your opening?